It's like the Commanders game in the division round. The Packers put belt to you know what today. That is the moral of this story today. The Lions got absolutely killed today against the Green Bay Packers. Absolutely killed. Now, there was no positives about this game. Let's keep it real here. There was no positives about this game whatsoever. If you want to throw in a positive or anything of any sort of that, the only one you could say is we now have a huge chip on our shoulder. That is about the only thing that you can take away from this game for future weeks. That's the only that you can take away that was positive. And I don't even really want to call it positive because, like, with our mentality, we always have a chip on our shoulder. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. First review video 2025, and it's not going to be a good one. Lions lose to the Packers 27-13, which should have been really 27-6. Packers head to 1-0, Lions head to 0-1, and Lions finished 6-0 in the division last year, and now they're 0-1. So they're already going to finish with the worst division record than they did last season. And we did start the season 1-1 last year. Could we possibly do that again? Possibly, but I don't want to say next week's a guaranteed win. I'll talk about that more in a little bit. But Lions lose 27-13. We'll start with the Lions stats. Jared Goff, his stat line might not be horrible, but he did not have a good game at all today. 31 for 39. That's like 79.5% completion percentage. I looked it up. He had 225 passing yards, but his passing yards were really spread out, and a lot of it was deke and dunk plays. He had one touchdown on a phenomenal touchdown to Isaac Tesla. I'll talk about here in a minute. And then he had an interception, I believe, that was picked off by Evan Williams, the Packers safety. That really was not on Goff. Part of it was, but most of it was just a phenomenal play by Evan Williams. Jared Goff, he looked insanely uncomfortable today. Very uncomfortable today. I can't tell you, out of those 31 completions, how many were dink and dunk passes. I cannot tell you how many. I guarantee you at least probably about half of those, 15, 16 of those, were dink and dunk passing plays. I can almost guarantee it. Jahmyr Gibbs, we'll talk. It's probably more than that, because Jahmyr Gibbs, look at this here. Look at this. Let me pull it up. Look at this stat line. This is unreal to me. Jahmyr Gibbs, 10 receptions, 31 yards. And I read a post, I believe it was from Field Yates, saying that is the most receptions by a player with the least amount of yardage in NFL history. Not decade, not century, not NFL history. NFL history. It's insane to me. So Jahmyr Gibbs' receiving stat line gets a lot of receptions, already on pace to break last year's receptions, but yardage about the same. But I can't believe he had that many receptions for that little amount of yards. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to dink and dunk passes. But Jared Goff, the offensive line. Let's talk about the offensive line before I forget about it. The offensive line was arguably the worst thing about today. I wouldn't say it was the worst thing about today. I'll get to the worst thing in a minute that I've been talking about for a year, almost 2 years now. But the offensive line was not it today at all. It was horrible. Penei Sewell, I think, probably had the worst game he's ever had as a Detroit Lion since his rookie season. Honest to God, I think that. He had a really rough game against the Texans last season, but I think this is worse. I cannot tell you how many times he lost his rep to Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons was not even on the field for that much. He lost a lot of reps to Micah Parsons. He lost a couple to Rashawn Gary. He did not have a good day today. Penei Sewell was a rare occurrence, and I don't expect to see it happen again. But when that's your blind side, man, one of your blind sides is tough. It's really tough. Tate Ratledge, saw him on the thumbnail of the preview video. I thought he was one of the biggest guys that we need to pay attention for in this game. He had one of the worst starts to a rookie debut as a starting guard I think you could ever see. I legitimately believe that. Tate Ratledge, he made a couple good blocks, couple good decisions, but for the most part, he either whiffed on multiple blocking attempts or he just flat out missed it. So Tate Ratledge, he also allowed a sack. We allowed 4 sacks on the day. Really should have been more from how much pressure was being dialed up. He did not have a good rookie performance. Glasgow, below average performance from him as well. I expected a little bit more, but at the same time, it's going to take some time to get used to, especially with the other guards. So it's going to take some time to get used to. Mahogany, below average day for him as well. I don't think he was nearly as bad as Tate Ratledge, but he was not as good either. This was by far his worst performance he's had as a Detroit Lion yet. Remember, he started, I think, 3 games for us last year, including the postseason. He had a tough day as well. Rough day today. He allowed a sack on, I believe it was Devontae Wyatt, where he just completely lost the rep. Taylor Decker, I thought, was our best offensive lineman. He allowed a sack that should have been a safety that Rashawn Gary took down Goff. He ended up tackling him in the end zone and pulled him back out of the end zone at the 1. That ended up resulting not in a safety, but that was more on Gary not getting a safety. I mean, Gary should have had him down for a safety, but that was the only part where I thought Decker absolutely got beat today. I got to rewatch the film. Obviously, it's going to be one of the more tough games in a while. Probably, obviously, the divisional round was tougher, but it's going to be probably the second toughest game to rewatch the film that I've had to watch since the NFC Championship game. So, offensive line was brutal today. Decker, I thought was below average to average on the day, and I thought he was our best offensive lineman, just to go over that. Rushing was horrible. 11 for 25. Monty had one decent little run for, I think it was about 6 yards, and then he was just shut down after that. I mean, the whole entire offensive line. Pass blocking, run blocking. Gibbs, 9 for 19, 2.1. Can you believe that? J-Mo, 1 for 3. Goff took a kneel. And I want to talk about that as well. The Lions made a run stop, I believe, with like 52 seconds left in the first half. They tackled the Packers running back, I believe, Josh Jacobs, at about the 13-so-yard line. It was 3rd and 2 is what it was. 50 seconds left. The Lions were already down by 2 touchdowns. We had 3 timeouts remaining. We decided not to take one at all. So the Packers ran off 40 seconds, and then 30, 40 seconds, and then we stopped them, of course. And it was 4th and 1, and we ended up taking our first timeout with about, I think it was 19 seconds remaining, 19:21, somewhere around there. And then it was a phenomenal punt by Daniel Whelan, their punter, Packers punter. And we took that kneel, and that was it. So it was a horrible decision call by, I'm assuming it was Dan Campbell. I mean, it was almost brain dead, real talk. It was a horrible decision by Dan Campbell, if it was Campbell's decision, which I'm assuming it was, not to take the timeout there. On the receiving end, Sam Laporta, decent day for Laporta. His stats are going to say better than what I thought he actually was, but he was probably our best overall player today, stat-wise and film-wise. And when it comes to film, at least a top 3 player for us today, and that's not saying much. 6 receptions, 79 yards. St. Brown, decent little day, had a really nice catch on a 2-tap catch that he was able to haul in from going out of bounds, 4 for 45. Gibbs already went over him, 10 for 31. J-Mo, just coming off the extension one day, coming off the extension, not even 24 hours, 4 for 23. Disappointing day for J-Mo. A lot of dink and dunks to him, too. And this is another thing I want to talk about. The Lions did not take any deep shots in this game. There was another call. I'm assuming this was John Morton. We were down, I think, at our own 1. It was 3rd and 12. We were down by 14 or 17 points. Again, it was 3rd and 12. It was becoming, I think, the end of the 3rd quarter. Why don't you take a shot there? Why don't you take a shot? It didn't make sense to me. If there is pressure coming and you don't have time to throw it deep, or there's nobody open, throw it out of bounds, all right? You're risking a safety by running the ball more than you are throwing it. And who knows, if pressure holds up, just take a shot downfield. If it's intercepted, it really don't matter because you're going to end up punting the ball. But being about the same distance if the play was intercepted. So I don't know. That was arguably worse than even the timeout play. Not taking a shot there. There was no point. If you took a shot there, very unlikely it connects. Probably on about 20% shot it connects. But that could change the whole game. Both of those could have changed the whole game. The one where you decide to not take a timeout, and the one where you decide not to take a deep shot. Even on the previous play on 2nd down, but especially in that 3rd down one, I was irate when we did not take a shot. And we did not take a shot the whole entire game. That is a problem. No receivers seemed to get open. Goff was uncomfortable. Felt like he was getting the ball out a lot more quicker than he should have been. which is a bad thing and a good thing, but more of a bad thing in my opinion. We got to have at least 1 or 2 deep shots a game. Have to if we want to have the chance to win. We cannot be doing this dink and dunks. Montgomery 4 for 18. Raymond 2 for 16. And Tesla 1 for 13 and a touchdown. Gets his first Detroit Lions touchdown of his NFL career. And I honest to God believe, I put out on Twitter, this was the only good thing for the Detroit Lions statistically and on film that happened today, was that touchdown. It was a one-handed touchdown. Hold on, I got a cough here. It was a one-handed touchdown on 4th and 3 in almost the corner of the end zone, in the back corner of the end zone, in the left backhand corner of the end zone. It was a phenomenal one-handed catch. It was originally ruled incomplete. I thought it was incomplete. I knew he brought it in, but I didn't think he got his feet down, and he somehow got his feet down before his butt hit the ground, and he was able to pull it in for a phenomenal touchdon grab. And I'm telling you right now, I was gonna say that might be the best catch by a rookie wide receiver you will see in a long time, possibly in NFL history, but I forgot OBJ had his obviously phenomenal one-handed catch in his rookie season as well. But this was Tesla's first catch in a regular season game for the Detroit Lions in his career. I think it will go down as the best first catch, for especially for a first catch touchdown in NFL history. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Defense side of the ball, really nothing to go over here besides the one thing I'm going to talk about here in a minute. Campbell led us in tackles with 9. Campbell played very well today, in my opinion. Him and Laporta were our best players today. Derek Barnes had a nice run stop play, but besides that, really did not do anything on pass rush and really wasn't impactful besides that. Brian Branch had an okay day, had a stupid penalty. I believe it was on sportsmanlike conduct or unnecessary roughness. It was one of the two. It was a stupid penalty. Ripped, I think it was Tucker Kraft's helmet off. Now, Tucker Kraft usually does start a lot of things. I'm going to be honest. That's not just me being hating on the Packers. I feel like I can agree with all Packers fans there. He starts a lot of things. But you can't be doing that. He ripped the helmet off. He could have let go to make it less obvious that he was trying to rip Tucker Kraft's helmet off, but he held on to it, ripped Tucker Kraft's helmet off. I think a penalty was already thrown, but then he decided to throw the helmet. You can't do that in the opposite direction. You cannot do that. So Brian Branch, Dan Campbell said he knows he cannot do that anymore in his press conference. Brian Branch, though, I thought he had a pretty decent day. Had a pick 6 that was called back by 2 Lions penalties, one on Rocky Sin and one on Aiden Hutchinson. The main one calling it back being on Rocky Sin. DJ Reed, a tough Lions debut for him. Wasn't a horrible performance, but got beat multiple times. But that's also because the pass rush could not get there, so I'm totally blaming it on him. Let me fix that here real quick. I did not mean to click on Meek Robertson. Talk about Meek, though, while we're at it. Meek, I thought, was the quietest, best defensive back for the Lions today. He was extremely quiet. I don't even think he had a target on the day. The target thrown at him on the day, but I thought he played very well today. I got to rewatch the film, obviously, but from what I saw, very quiet but very good performance. DJ Reed, already talked about him. Terrion Arnold got hurt. He left the game with, I think it was a quad injury. Did not return. Dan Campbell says we don't really know the severity of the injury right now, so probably less good news than, or more bad news than good news, which is not a good thing, obviously. And Terrion Arnold, I think, said that they took him out before he could have hurt it even more, made the severity of it even worse. So, I mean, that's a good thing, but that's not a good update on Terrion Arnold's injury. His performance is very similar to DJ Reed, below average. Looked a lot like what he looked like last season, so hopefully he can change that next week if he plays, and hopefully it's not severe injury. Praise up. Alex Anzalone almost had an interception that he should have been picked off. It was, I don't even know what it was. I think the pass was deflected right in Anzalone's hands, and he dropped it. Anzalone's been a linebacker that he's made some really good interceptions for the Lions and made some obvious drops that should have been interceptions as well. He had an okay day. Talk about this man, Marcus Davenport. All right, he played the full game. All right. So that's better than nothing. He played the full game. But the guy put up one of the worst performances I've seen him put up since the 2022 season with the Saints, where he played 15 games and had half a sack. There were multiple games that season where he played worse than today. But this was his worst game since that season. He's played, I believe, 7 games since. And then obviously, I'm assuming whatever week that he played the worst in 2022, add those on as well. Marcus Davenport was okay in the run game today, very average. Pass rush game, arguably the worst I've ever seen from him, from his film. I've watched so much film of Marcus Davenport. Some of the worst pass rush film I've ever seen from him. I don't think he got a pressure today. He was being double teamed a couple times, but he could not get any pressure when he was on some single teams. He attempted one bull rush move. He was just like running into the guys most of the time. He attempted one bull rush move, did not work. He attempted no spin moves, don't shoot moves, anything like that. He did not do a bend or anything like that at all this game. His pass rush downs this game was horrible. I mean, it was absolutely horrible. So he now only has to play 5 more games. I think I looked at the notes. I didn't look at the notes. I actually didn't write it down. But I believe what I said in the video was actually 6 games, not 7 or 8. I think I said he had to play 6+ games and have 7+ sacks. So that is the bet. If Marcus Davenport plays 6+ games this season, so 5 more games this season, and he has 7 more sacks this year, he hasn't got any today, but if he has 7 sacks this season or more, I will buy a Marcus Davenport NFL Shop jersey. So look forward to that, but that's not going to happen. I'm going to tell you that right now when it comes to the sacks and probably even the games. He did finish today, though, so there's that. Tyreek Williams, he had one nice run stop play, but besides that, really didn't make an impact. Kirby Joseph, he might have been like a Meek. I really didn't hear his name at all today. I don't think he played quite as good as Meek, though. I got to check the film on him. And then anybody else here, Lopez, saw him out there a little bit. Really did not play great. I got to rewatch the film there. And everybody else here with special teams. Vontae Max, I really did not see on defense at all. I could be tripping, though. Got to rewatch the film. Kick returns, punt returns. Jacob Saylors was all right. Stewart was all right. And Raymond was good on punt returns. Field goals and extra points. Jake Bates went 100%, 2 for 2 on field goals and made an extra point. Fox was 47.3 yards per punt with 142 yards on 3 punts. Checking at the Packers here. I'm not going to take long to go over this. Jordan Love, his stats are not as good as his performance when you watch the film today. He played very well. Was throwing the ball out really, really quick, which is a thing he used to struggle with, at least from watching the film. When it comes to me watching the film, he struggled with that in the past. He looked a lot better today with that. Josh Jacobs, he was horrible first half, got a little better second half. We still held him though okay. Jordan Love 3 for 4, Emmanuel Wilson 1 for 4. Romeo Doubs 2 for 68, had a big bomb that was like a 55-yard catch somewhere on there that he beat Terry and Arnold on. It was almost a little bit not on Terry and Arnold as well because there was no safety back there as well, which is a problem. Jaden Reed 3 for 45 and touchdown. Dontavian Wicks 2 for 30. Tucker Kraft 2 for 16 touchdown. The rookie first round pick Matthew Golden 2 for 16. A little bit of a disappointing day for him as a Packers fan, I'm assuming. Josh Jacobs 1 for 4. Musgrave 1 for 4. Brooks 1 for 2. Fitzpatrick 1 for 2. And Savion Williams, the rookie, 1 for 1. Edgar and Cooper had a great day. 8 tackles. He was out there quite a bit. Javon Bullard, I thought, had a good day. Quay Walker also had a good day. Rashawn Gary, very good day for him. I would say he's arguably better than Micah Parsons today. Had 1.5 sacks. Lucas Van Ness has not lived up to his first-round pick, but he played very well today, having half a sack. Devontae White has been a decent defensive tackle for them. He is now the number 1 DT over there, had a sack. Micah Parsons, he only had 1 tackle, and it did end up being a sack, but it was on a chase down sack, and you know how slow Goff is, so it really isn't that big of a deal. But he did make an impact when he was out there. He's probably only out there for 20-some snaps, and I believe he got probably pressure on at least 10 or 15 of those. I guarantee. I'll not be surprised when the stats come out later tonight or tomorrow if he ended up getting 10+ pressures today. I would not be surprised. He was killing us. Specifically, shockingly, Penei Sewell. Evan Williams, already talked about him, had that great pick, and that was about it to highlight there. Yeah, that was about it to highlight there. Nothing else really for them. Brandon McManus went 100%. And that was about it. Take up the team stats, and then we'll wrap this video up. Like you would think off of the stats here, we would have kept this game at least close or potentially even won it. We only had 20 less yards than them. They had 266. We had 246. We had 12 more passing yards. We had 200. They had 188. Rushing yards, we had 46. They had 78. So almost 30 more there. 32 actually. So not a good performance there on a rushing game, obviously, but that's not a great performance for them either. That's like below average, 78 per the NFL. Yards per play, 3.8. That's very bad, obviously. That's probably the one where you could think the Packers won. 5.7, which is not great either for them, but that's definitely better than 3.8. 16 first downs for the Lions, 14 for the Packers. Third down efficiency, they were better there. 5 for 15 for us, 4 for 10 for the Packers. Third down efficiency, we were about the same there. We went for it 3 more times, and we got it 75% of the time. They went for 1 time and got it. So about the same overall there if you count in the extra plays that the Lions did. Total plays, we had almost 20 more plays, 18 to be exact, than the Packers. We had 65, they had 47. This was another moral of the story of the game, obviously. We allowed 4 sacks. We got to the quarterback, Jordan Love, 0 times. That's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not even. I was so angry about it during the game. I mean, like, we could not get a single. I don't think we got a pressure the whole entire first half. It was a little better to start off the second half, and then it went back to the first half again, to about the end of the third quarter to the whole entire fourth quarter. It was abysmal. I swore they benched Davenport for O'Connor at some points too. That's how bad Davenport was today. Punts 3 for 3. Penalties 7 for 40, 4 for 40. So we had 3 more, but for the same amount of yards. Fumbles lost 0-0. Interceptions thrown 1 by Goff, 0 by Love. And we had the ball for almost 11 more minutes than the Green Bay Packers. 10 minutes and 50 seconds to be exact. Like, you would think by those stats we would have at least kept this game closer, potentially even won it. The Lions get absolutely murdered, though, when you watch the game. They got murdered. Nothing was really good to come away from this game. That's all I can say, man. I mean, what else do I have to say? On to the Bears next week. I would say next week is almost a must-win. I don't want to say it is a must-win, but I think we're almost to that point because, spoiler alert, unless if we throw up like 40-some points next week and absolutely murder the Bears like the Packers murdered us today, I think we get killed like we did today against Baltimore. I got us losing the Baltimore game right now, and the only way that's going to change is if we absolutely murder and destroy the Bears next week. That's the only way that my opinion would potentially change on that. So there's a spoiler for that. So I think there's a really good chance. That's why I think next week might be a must-win. Because if we lose next week, it's already going to destroy our morale because that's a first loss at home, another loss in the division, and it's to our former offensive coordinator in his second career game as a head coach. And that means, in my opinion, we will start the year 0-3. I forget who our Week 4 opponent is. I have no idea who it is, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think Cincinnati's Week 5. Might be the Commander. I don't know who it is. Week 4. Maybe the Vikings? I don't know. I got to check out our Week 4 opponent. But there's a really good chance that if we lose next week, I think we start the year out 0-3. So next week is arguably a must-win for the Detroit Lions. And statistically, if a team starts the year out 0-4, so we'll see about that Week 4 opponent. Actually, it's the Browns. The Browns are the Week 4 opponent. So, but you never know. Joe Flacco, they almost beat the Bengals today. Now, I understand the Bengals usually do not play well to start the season, but they almost beat the Bengals. Joe Flacco. So, that's just my guy. But one probably go Lions, but we could very well start the year out 0-3. That's why next week might be a must-win, in my opinion. One probably go Lions.